There's a lot of confusion we have about when to unlock a requirement, what is hold, what is release, what are the different icons we have available here to the right of each requirement. I'm going to explain and talk about these requirements, which would help us do better, strategize in a better way while trying to get our resumes right. So first thing first, if you see the list here, you have two different colored requirements. Requirements are colored in two different ways. One is brown, one is white, right? When you have a brown requirement, it means that the requirement has gone to autopilot. Autopilot could not fetch as many profiles as you wanted, and for that reason it actually changed the color, saying you need to change the requirement now for you to get more profiles, right? The moment you see a brown color and the resumes are not there in place, then I think the requirement specialist should go about changing the requirement and fire a new request to pull resumes, right? That is first thing. The second thing is the small blue box here which has numbers in it. Those are the number of resumes you have for that requirement which are not processed by the recruiter. So, for example, in this VM WJP 8500 requirement, there are 20 resumes which are in auditor accepted stage, which means the resumes uh, are there, and and alter accepted, and these resumes are not processed at by the recruiters. So the moment you see that the number 20 in this case, it means that there are profiles for you to really have the recruiter process them, right? The green button here, CS, means it's a contract position. PS means permanent position, right? So it's just to differentiate whether it's a contract position or a permanent position. Next to that is, in this case, you have open and you have something called stop, right? And you have something called hold, also not hold, stop, open, and halt. So these are specifically, these are the requirements with open and close and halt are the requirements which are pulled from the field glass. For example, in our case, from for VMware, EMC, and Dell, we get this open, close, stop and halt buttons, which actually means open here means that in Fieldglass this is in submitted state, which means you are actually ready to start working on, right? There is one thing here called stop. This is again a submitted state in Fieldglass, but there is a message in Fieldglass which says that the number of resumes are enough. We have enough resumes, and please stop uploading more profiles. If that message is there, we'll pull that resumes. We'll actually pull that requirement. We'll make it a stop though. The moment that message goes off, again we'll see that this goes to a open state. Okay, so if you are not working on VMware, EMC, and Dell, you don't have to worry about this open and stop. Okay, the other one you see is release and hold in blue. This actually, as we spoke earlier, means that if it is in release state, you're ready to go. You can actually go about giving the requirement to the recruiter. But if it's in hold state, it means that the corpus available, corpus is not available for this requirement, and there is a request which has already um gone to Infofill, and Infofill team will create the corpus, and this automatically will go from hold to release. If it is urgent for you, before even the team comes back, you can always call me, or I'll give the mail IDs of the team. You can ask them to unlock them, or no, unhold them, to release them basically. And the last one you see is a lock button. This is very much for the recruiters, right? I mean, for the recruiters to see or not see your requirement. If it is unlocked, the requirement is assigned to a recruiter. If it is locked, it is not assigned to a recruiter. So the wise thing to do is look for the requirements which have resumes, which means some number in the first first block, and see that they are in open case, they are open, it is in release state, and then you can unlock it, right? Do not unlock a requirement which has zero number of resumes. It doesn't make sense. So look for resumes, look for the requirements which has number of resumes is more than zero, it is in open state, and it is in release stage, and you can unlock it. So how do you check for these things, right? You have filters given all through here. You can filter your resumes by the way you want, right? So what you need to do is basically you need to go to status and say open. So if you see, when you do that, right, you see only the open requirements here. All non-VMware Dell EMC guys, you will not use this, because your requirements won't have this field and they won't show up here. So for VMware Dell and EMC, you can always say open in the status, and you get only an open requirements. You can always say hold as release. You'll see only the release ones which you can assign, right? Lock status is, I mean, you don't have to look at the lock status. You can give this release, you can give the profile open, and you can actually find that there are profile types, all different profile types we have, right? If you say none of the above, it actually shows you only none of the above requirements. If you want to work on the requirements which are none of the above, this is the right way to do it, right? We will do that, obviously. So I'm looking for all the profiles which are release state, which are open. Now I look for that this is like 20 resumes here. I'll unlock it. I know that you don't have to worry about anything else, right? You can directly go and unlock the requirements in this case. If you have any questions, you can come back to me, but make sure that you unlock all the requirements, only the requirements which has the resumes. Okay, do not unlock the requirements which has no resumes. And in some cases that there is a requirement which has zero profiles. You want to actually request for more profiles. You have a button, blue button here. You can click on that. It would actually tell you when you actually last requested. So in this case, we requested on 27th at 11:54. If you confirm, now it will go and try to fetch more. But as this is already in brown color, there are no resumes. So you need to go edit this, modify the mandatory skills and preferred skills, or whatever it is, like experience also, if you think it makes sense, and rate, and then save it. After that, you can go ahead and request for more profiles by click on this blue button at the bottom of your requirement. Okay, hope this helps. Thank you.